The signal arrived on a quiet Tuesday. Dr. Park was working late in the observatory when his equipment detected something unusual coming from deep space. At first, he thought it was just another cosmic anomaly, but as he analyzed the pattern, his heart began to race. "This isn't random," he whispered to himself. The message was clearly artificial, structured, repeated, and directed precisely at Earth. Dr. Park immediately called his supervisor, and within hours, the world's top scientists were examining the transmission. It took 3 weeks to decode. When they finally understood what they were hearing, the room fell silent. The message was from something calling itself the Galactic Hegemony, a coalition of 12 advanced species that had been expanding throughout the stars for thousands of years. "We will arrive in your system within 1 Earth year," the message stated. "Prepare for integration as a Class 3 pre-integration world. Resistance is unnecessary and counterproductive." World leaders gathered in an emergency summit as panic spread across the globe. News channels played the message on repeat. Religious leaders offered conflicting interpretations. Some people built bunkers, others celebrated in the streets, believing salvation was coming from the stars. Admiral Kim stood before the hastily formed United Earth Defense Council, her expression grave. The room was filled with representatives from every nation, all looking to her for guidance. "The hegemony believes we are primitive," she said, pointing to the detailed analysis. "Their message is not a greeting between equals. It is a notice of conquest." "What can we possibly do against beings who cross the stars?" asked one representative. Admiral Kim smiled for the first time. "We send them a message back. Just one message." The council argued for hours. Some wanted to offer peace. Others suggested hiding. A few proposed begging for mercy. "No," said Admiral Kim firmly. "We tell them only this: we are ready for you." The vote was close, but her proposal passed. Earth's most powerful transmitter sent the brief message into space, directed at the approaching fleet. Then the real work began. Nations that had been enemies for centuries suddenly found common purpose. Military factories operated around the clock. Research facilities shared discoveries instantly rather than keeping secrets. The moon base expanded rapidly, and Mars received its first permanent colony as a backup for human civilization. Dr. Lee made the breakthrough in his small lab in Seoul. He had been experimenting with quantum field manipulation when he discovered how to create a shield that could absorb and redirect energy. When the first test successfully blocked a military-grade laser, he knew humanity had found its edge. "They won't expect this," he told Admiral Kim when she visited his facility. "The hegemony thinks we're still playing with chemical rockets and basic electronics. How quickly can we deploy it?" she asked. 6 months if every major nation contributes resources." Admiral Kim nodded. "They will." Satellites with strange new attachments began orbiting Earth. Hidden bases were built throughout the asteroid belt. The old International Space Station was quietly replaced with something much larger and more heavily armored. Military forces trained together using new protocols designed specifically for space combat. As months passed, humanity transformed. Old conflicts seemed petty in the face of extinction. Knowledge flowed freely across borders. Children studied alien languages constructed from the limited samples in the message. "We don't know if we can win," Admiral Kim told the council at the 6-month mark. "But we can make them regret choosing Earth as a target." Early warning systems detected the first scout ships entering the solar system 11 months after the initial message. They moved cautiously, clearly surprised by the activity they were observing. Humanity had done in less than a year what might normally take decades. Admiral Kim watched the alien vessels on the tracking screen. They were keeping their distance, studying Earth's defenses. Good. Let them wonder. Let them question their assumptions about humanity's capabilities. Her assistant handed her a report. The quantum shields were operational globally. The Prometheus protocol was ahead of schedule. Earth's fighters were ready. "They thought they were sending a message to frighten primitives," she said quietly. "Instead, they woke a sleeping giant." The scout ships continued their observation. Behind them, The main hegemony fleet approached. Earth waited, ready for whatever came next. Captain June stood at the viewport of Lunar Base Alpha, watching the alien scout ships through the reinforced glass. They moved differently than human, vessels more fluid, almost like sea creatures swimming through the vacuum of space. For 2 weeks they had been exploring the outer edges of the solar system, carefully avoiding Earth's new defense platforms. "They seem confused," said Officer Song, who monitored communications beside him. "Wouldn't you be?" replied June. They expected primitive humans cowering in fear. Instead, they found defense systems and activity throughout the system. The largest scout ship had positioned itself near Jupiter's orbit. Earth's long-range scanners showed intense scanning activity directed toward human installations. Deep in space, Admiral Hyun Du of the Galactic Hegemony studied the reports with growing irritation. The preliminary data contradicted everything in the official files about Earth. These humans should barely have achieved limited spaceflight. Yet here they were with defense platforms around multiple planets and what appeared to be quantum technology. "How is this possible?" he demanded of his science officer. "Unknown, Admiral. Either our intelligence was flawed or they have advanced remarkably quickly since our last survey," Admiral Du scoffed. "Their message, 'We are ready for you,' it's still just empty words. They may have a few surprises, but nothing that can stand against the full might of the hegemony." He drafted his report to Central Command, carefully downplaying the unexpected developments. "Earth shows slightly more advancement than anticipated, but presents no significant threat to our integration timetable." What Admiral Du didn't know was that Lieutenant Yoon was listening to every word. The young intelligence officer had infiltrated the alien vessel 3 days earlier, disguised as a maintenance worker. The hegemony employed many species for menial labor, and in their arrogance they barely glanced at yet another small humanoid cleaning their corridors. Yoon placed tiny transmitters throughout the ship, sending valuable data back to Earth about hegemony weapon systems, shield frequencies, and command protocols. Each night she squeezed into a maintenance shaft to transmit her findings through a quantum communicator hidden in her toolkit. "They're underestimating us," she reported, "but their technology is still centuries ahead of ours in many areas." Back on Earth, factories worked at full capacity. Children studied in new schools that taught both traditional subjects and alien technologies. The first generation of true spacefighters completed their training, learning battle maneuvers that would have been impossible just months earlier. Mars Colony Alpha expanded rapidly, with underground cities designed to survive if Earth fell. Scientists worked tirelessly to adapt Dr. Lee's quantum shield technology to smaller vessels. Admiral Kim met with the Defense Council in their underground headquarters beneath the Pacific Ocean. "The hegemony's main fleet will arrive within 30 days, she announced, showing the trajectory on the holographic display. "Based on Lieutenant Yoon's intelligence, they're bringing 7 capital ships and approximately 200 support vessels. Can we stand against such numbers?" asked one council member. "Not in direct confrontation," admitted Kim, "but we don't need to. The Prometheus protocol is nearly ready." The mention of Prometheus silenced the room. Only those with the highest clearance knew the details. A revolutionary weapon system that could turn the hegemony's own power against them. In orbit, the first generation of Earth's true warships conducted silent drills, their quantum shields making them nearly invisible to conventional sensors. General Tay led the exercises, pushing the pilots to their limits. "The enemy believes they know what we're capable of," he told them. "That's our advantage. We will show them things they've never seen before." As the hegemony fleet approached, Admiral Do received new orders. Central Command had reviewed his reports and determined that Earth required stronger measures than initially planned. Instead of the standard diplomatic approach followed by gradual integration, they authorized immediate military action to subdue the unexpectedly advanced humans. "Excellent," muttered Do. "These humans need to learn their place." What he didn't realize was that Lieutenant Yoon had already transmitted this change in plans to Earth. Admiral Kim immediately activated Phase 2 of Earth's defense strategy. "They're coming in hot," she told her commanders. Exactly as we predicted. Throughout the solar system, hidden bases powered up. Disguised asteroid installations revealed weapon systems. The massive shield generators on Earth's moon began their warm-up sequence. Captain June watched the distant flashes as the main hegemony fleet exited faster than light travel at the edge of the solar system. Hundreds of ships, arranged in perfect formation, began their approach toward Earth. "And so it begins," he said quietly. The storm was gathering. Humanity's first true test against the stars was about to commence. The hegemony warships arrived at dawn, their massive forms blocking the sun over Earth's major cities. People stood in streets, on rooftops, and at windows, staring up at the metal giants in the sky. The ships formed perfect patterns, a display of power meant to terrify. Admiral Dew stood on the bridge of his command vessel, looking down at the blue planet with satisfaction. This was his 12th integration mission, and despite the unexpected technological advances, he expected it to end like all the others, with complete surrender. "Begin the demonstration," he ordered. Energy gathered at the front of each warship, glowing with increasing intensity. This was standard hegemony procedure. Destroy one major city as an example, then demand surrender while the population was still in shock. The primary weapons fired simultaneously, sending massive energy beams toward Earth's surface. They targeted Seoul, a city of 15 million people. Lieutenant Yoon had warned of this exact scenario. As the energy beams descended, hidden installations around the city activated. The quantum shields that Dr. Lee had developed formed a dome of shimmering light above Seoul. When the hegemony weapons struck the shield, the energy didn't explode or penetrate. Instead, it spread across the surface of the dome, crackling like lightning before dissipating harmlessly. From his command ship, Admiral Doe stared in disbelief. "Impossible," he whispered. Deep beneath Mount Paktu, Admiral Kim sat in the central command center surrounded by screens showing the battle positions. When she saw the shields hold, she allowed herself a small smile. "Now," she ordered simply. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden forces came to life. The asteroid bases that had appeared to be nothing more than mining operations suddenly launched hundreds of fighters. The seemingly abandoned stations near Mars released swarms of drones. And from Earth itself, the first generation of quantum-shielded warships rose into the atmosphere. Commander Bay led the first attack wing, his squadron approaching from behind Jupiter's moons, where they had been concealed from hegemony sensors. "Remember, you're training," he told his pilots over the comm. "They expect us to fight like them, don't." The Earth fighters moved in patterns the hegemony had never encountered, utilizing maneuvers that would kill any pilot without the new inertial dampening systems. They attacked, vanished, then reappeared from impossible angles. On his flagship, Admiral Dew shouted orders as chaos erupted across his fleet. "How are they bypassing our shields? Where are they coming from?" A junior officer responded with panic in his voice. "Sir, they're using some form of targeted quantum disruption. Our shield frequencies are being matched and neutralized." This was the result of Lieutenant Yoon's intelligence work. Every hegemony shield frequency had been analyzed and countered. The space around Earth became a chaotic battlefield. Hegemony ships fired desperately at targets that moved too quickly or unpredictably. Earth's smaller vessels couldn't match the aliens' firepower, but they didn't need to. They just needed to create confusion and opportunity. Admiral Kim watched the tactical display as the hidden element of her plan activated. Throughout the asteroid belt, disguised warheads detonated, not as weapons but as massive electromagnetic pulse generators. The carefully calculated pulses swept across space, temporarily disabling hegemony communications. "Launch the Prometheus missiles," she ordered. These weren't conventional weapons but delivery systems for Earth's most advanced technology. When they struck hegemony vessels, instead of exploding, they attached and began overriding the ship's systems. On one hegemony, destroyer alien crew members watched in horror as their controls turned against them. Similar scenes played out across a dozen vessels before the hegemony realized what was happening. Admiral Doe's face darkened with rage as the battle reports came in. 3 destroyers lost, 7 more damaged, and hundreds of fighters destroyed. Never in his career had he faced such resistance from a supposedly inferior species. "Full retreat," he finally ordered. Regroup at Position Alpha. As the hegemony fleet withdrew to the outer solar system, cheers erupted in command centers across Earth. But Admiral Kim didn't celebrate. This was just their first attempt, she reminded her officers. They'll be back, and they'll be smarter next time. Casualty reports began arriving. Earth had lost fighters and pilots too. A hegemony missile had penetrated the defenses around a small African space center. The lunar base had taken damage, but they had survived the first strike. Something the hegemony had never expected. In the outer solar system, Admiral Doe sent an urgent message to Central Command. Earth resistance stronger than anticipated. Request immediate reinforcements and updated tactical directives. These humans are unlike any species we have encountered before. As his message traveled across the stars, Earth began preparing for the next attack. The factories increased production. The captured alien technology was already being studied and reverse-engineered. Humanity had bloodied the invaders' nose. Now they needed to prepare for the real fight. The hegemony reinforcements arrived 3 weeks after the first battle. Admiral Doe watched with satisfaction as 5 massive carrier ships emerged from faster-than-light travel, surrounded by hundreds of destroyers and thousands of fighters. Central Command had taken his defeat seriously. This time, we crushed them, completely, he told his officers. No demonstrations, no warnings. The new fleet was far larger than anything Earth had faced before. Observation posts throughout the solar system transmitted urgent warnings back to Admiral Kim's command center. They've brought enough firepower to glass the entire planet, reported. General Tay studying the tactical displays. Admiral Kim nodded calmly. Exactly as we predicted. Is Prometheus ready? Yes, Admiral. All systems are operational. She took a deep breath. The Prometheus protocol was Earth's most desperate gamble. Technology reverse-engineered from fragments of alien science combined with humanity's most advanced theoretical physics. It had never been tested at full scale. Activate Prometheus, she ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden installations powered up. The energy requirements were enormous, drawing from fusion plants buried deep within moons and asteroids. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then space itself began to tear. Wormholes, artificial ruptures in spacetime, opened throughout the hegemony formation. Not large enough for ships to pass through, but perfect for what Earth had planned. The alien fleet scattered in confusion. Their sensors couldn't explain what was happening. Before they could regroup, Earth launched its counterattack. Fighter squadrons emerged from hidden bases throughout the asteroid belt. Unlike the defensive posture of the first battle, this time they attacked aggressively. Commander Bay led the first wing, targeting the hegemony's command and control systems. Remember, we can't match them ship for ship, he told his pilots. Hit fast, hit hard, and disappear before they can respond. The Earth fighters used the wormholes to their advantage, appearing from unexpected angles, striking, then vanishing before the hegemony could lock weapons. It was a tactic the aliens had never encountered, guerrilla warfare in space. Admiral Doe watched in growing horror as his carefully arranged formation dissolved into chaos. What is this madness? He demanded. How are they doing this? The answer came in the form of a direct attack on his flagship. Earth's newest warship, the Defiance, emerged from a wormhole directly above the hegemony command vessel. Before the alien shields could fully activate, the Earthship launched its boarding pods. General Han led the assault team personally, cutting through the hegemony ship's hull with plasma torches. His soldiers wore experimental powered armor developed from captured alien technology. Remember your training, he told them as they breached the outer hull. We need their command center intact. The hegemony crew fought back, but they were unprepared for close-quarters combat. Their civilization had conquered through overwhelming technological superiority for so long that the skills of individual warfare had atrophied. As the boarding party advanced toward the bridge, something unexpected happened. An alien officer approached with hands raised in what appeared to be surrender. Not all of us support this war, the alien said in halting human language. Many species within the hegemony question our leader's wisdom. This was a revelation. General Han had expected, to fight every step of the way, not find potential allies. Meanwhile, across the solar system, similar scenes were playing out. Earth forces struck rapidly at key hegemony positions, then withdrew before massive counterattacks could find them. Admiral Kim received updates in real time. The tactical situation was complex and constantly shifting, but one thing was clear. The hegemony was taking losses they had never experienced before. "Send the message," she ordered. Throughout the battlefield, on frequencies the hegemony used for internal communications, a simple message began to broadcast. "We are not your enemy. Your leaders have lied about us. Join us or leave our system." In peace. The effect was immediate. Several smaller hegemony vessels ceased fire. 2 actually turned their weapons on other alien ships. On the hegemony flagship, General Han's forces reached the bridge. Admiral Do was captured alive, along with his senior staff. More importantly, they secured the ship's command systems intact. "We have their central database," Han reported back to Earth. "Everything. Their star charts, tactical plans, communications codes. The intelligence was invaluable. Within hours, Earth forces knew exactly where to strike next, which ships might be sympathetic to humans, and most importantly, the location of the hegemony's main supply lines. As the battle entered its second day, the tide had clearly turned. The hegemony fleet was in disarray, taking losses they couldn't sustain, facing an enemy who fought unlike any they had encountered before. Admiral Kim studied the tactical display, planning her next move. The hegemony was wounded, but still dangerous. And now they knew something crucial. The massive alien empire wasn't as unified as it appeared. "Prepare for the final phase," she ordered. "It's time to take the fight to them." The final battle began near Jupiter's orbit. The remaining hegemony forces had regrouped, still outnumbering Earth's fleet by 3-1, but numbers no longer told the whole story. Admiral Kim stood on the bridge of Earth's flagship, Defiance, watching as her forces moved into position. The past weeks had transformed humanity's understanding of space warfare. Ships now carried technology that hadn't existed months earlier. "All units report ready," said her tactical officer. "Begin the operation," Kim ordered. Earth's planetary defense grid activated, a network of satellites and orbital platforms that had been under construction since the first alien message. Energy flowed between them, creating a web of force throughout the inner solar system. On board the captured hegemony command ship, now renamed Liberty, General Han prepared to lead the most critical mission of the war. His ship still appeared to be under alien control from the outside, allowing them to approach the heart of the enemy fleet. "Remember, we need to capture, not destroy," he reminded his crew. "The future of Earth depends on what we learn today." Admiral Do, now a prisoner, watched the preparations with growing respect and fear. "You don't understand what you're facing," he told Han. "The hegemony has ruled for 15,000 years. You cannot defeat such power." "We don't need to defeat all of it," Han replied, "just the part that came here." The battle erupted with simultaneous attacks from multiple directions. Earth fighters using wormhole technology appeared inside the hegemony formation, causing chaos and confusion. Larger Earth vessels engaged the alien capital ships, their quantum shields absorbing punishment that would have destroyed them weeks earlier. What the hegemony didn't realize was that this was all a distraction. The Liberty, still appearing as a hegemony vessel, approached the alien flagship carrying the supreme commander of the expedition force. Once in range, Han's team deployed their secret weapon, a device that could temporarily disable advanced technology without destroying it. When it activated, half the hegemony fleet suddenly lost power. Admiral Kim watched the tactical display as confusion spread through the enemy forces. "Now we offer them a choice," she said. Throughout the disabled fleet, Earth transmitters broadcast a simple message: "Surrender and live, fight and perish. We have no desire to destroy you." The response was not what anyone expected. Instead of a unified response, different alien vessels began responding individually. Some surrendered immediately. Others turned their weapons on their own allies. The hegemony fleet, supposedly a perfect instrument of imperial power, fractured before Earth's eyes. General Han's boarding party reached the Supreme Commander's bridge, unopposed. Several alien officers actually helped them navigate the massive vessel. The hegemony has grown corrupt, explained one officer from a species called the Nari. Many worlds suffer under their rule. We have waited for someone to challenge them. The supreme commander, an ancient being named Raul, showed no surprise when Han entered his command center. So the experiment succeeded, he said cryptically. What experiment? Han demanded. Did you truly believe your rapid advancement was natural? Raul asked. The hegemony has grown stagnant over millennia. Some of us have long believed that only a serious challenge could revitalize our civilization. Han listened in shock as Raul explained that certain factions within the hegemony had deliberately allowed Earth to receive advanced scientific knowledge through covert means. They had not expected humans to adapt it so quickly or use it so effectively. You wanted us to fight back? Han asked incredulously. We needed someone to remind us what it means to struggle, to innovate, Raul admitted. The hegemony conquered too easily for too long. We forgot how to evolve. As the battle concluded, it became clear that Earth had achieved something unprecedented. Not just survival, but victory against the most powerful force in known space. 3 days later, Admiral Kim met with representatives from 7 alien species who had defected from the hegemony. Together on the neutral ground of the lunar base, they drafted the foundation of a new alliance, the Galactic Confederation. We recognize Earth as an equal partner, proclaimed the Nari ambassador. Your people have demonstrated courage and innovation worthy of respect. Admiral Kim signed the treaty on behalf of humanity. This is not the end we expected when we received your first message, she told the assembled aliens. But perhaps it is a better one. As the former hegemony ships departed Earth's solar system, Admiral Kim sent one final transmission to the central worlds of the old empire. It contained just 5 words. We warned you. Remember that. On Earth, celebrations erupted as news spread of the victory in the new alliance. Humanity had faced extinction and instead found its place among the stars, not as conquerors or the conquered, but as equals in a changing galaxy. The warning had been delivered, and it would be remembered for millennia to come.